From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, June the 7th, 2018. A group of masked Palestinians hurled large rocks, chairs, and other objects from the entrance to the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount of Jerusalem's Old City today, lightly injuring an Israeli police officer and a tourist. 2 of the men were apprehended and arrested, and Israel police are searching for additional suspects. In the West Bank today, early this morning, an IDF soldier was lightly injured by a rock thrown at him as riots broke out during an arrest operation in the city of Nablus, where hundreds of Palestinians threw stones and cement blocks at soldiers. The IDF responded with live fire and crowd dispersal methods. The injured soldier received medical attention at the scene. The Israeli Air Force dropped thousands of flyers across the Gaza Strip today, calling on Palestinians not to take part in violent protests along the security fence. The flyers read, "For your own benefit, it is better for you to not take part in violent demonstrations along the border or cross it. And don't let Hamas turn you into a tool for its narrow interests." The IDF is anticipating an escalation in violent riots tomorrow at the fence, writing on social media today that it is again warning the people of Gaza not to serve as Hamas's tool, as they have been in the violent riots of recent months, and that the IDF is prepared for a multitude of scenarios and is determined to protect Israeli civilians and sovereignty. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the situation in Gaza this morning as he wrapped up his visit to Great Britain. After meeting earlier with UK Foreign and Commonwealth Secretary Boris Johnson, Netanyahu addressed the Policy Exchange think tank in London on the IDF's efforts to minimize casualties at the border fence. He said, "We tried tear gas, all sorts of other devices, and none have worked against this type of tactic." He said, "When I talk with European leaders, I always say, what would you do? The last thing we want is any violence or casualties. No country in the world," he said, "has offered an alternative." Israeli organizers of the Argentina-Israel soccer match that was supposed to take place this Saturday night in Jerusalem but was canceled yesterday say that Qatar and Turkey were involved in convincing Argentina's national team to withdraw from the game. As we reported to you, Argentina's Soccer Association canceled the game, citing threats made to its players. Palestinian Soccer Federation head Jibril Rajoub had called on the team's superstar Lionel Messi not to take part in the game and told his fans to burn shirts with the player's name on it if he did. Threats were also reported to other members of the team and their families, as well as months of pressure from the BDS Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions campaign. Today, a reporter for Israel's public broadcaster Kan, Amichai Stein, said negotiations are now underway to replace the canceled game with 2 other friendly matches. And he said one of them might be in Jerusalem. Well, the Philadelphia Orchestra concluded several performances in Israel this week despite BDS pressure not to travel to the country. The orchestra had been planning the trip to celebrate Israel's 70th birthday for almost 2 years and had worked with the Philadelphia Jewish Federation and the U.S. State Department's cultural section to make it happen. Protests over the trip included pro-Palestinian activists demonstrating outside the orchestra's Kimmel Center for several weeks, and protesters interrupted the orchestra's performance last week in Brussels. But the concerts in Israel went off without a hitch. They included an outreach performance by several members at Neve Shalom, a cooperative community founded by Jewish and Palestinian Arabs just outside Jerusalem, and formal concerts in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. The Israel Film Center Festival opened this week in New York City. This is the 6th year of the festival and the largest number of new Israeli films showcased in an international venue. One of the films, which debuts tonight at the Marlene Meyerson JCC of Manhattan, is Azimut, which takes place during the Six-Day War of 1967. It is directed by American-Israeli actor Mike Burstein, who recently sat down with Mark Golub on JBS to talk about the film and his long career. Look for that l'chaim soon. The Israel Film Center Festival runs through June the 12th. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, June the 7th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.